For any future employers or acquaintances, here's why you shouldn't respect me. This is my Nintendo Switch game collection. I've had a Switch for a little over 2 years at the time of recording this video, and in that time, these are all of the games that I've collected for it. Dear God, what is wrong with me? No, but in all seriousness, you know, the Switch is my most played console. I mean, it's the only console that I have on hand most of the time. So naturally, anytime I'm in the mood to play some games, I play some Switch games, you know what I mean? So I have a lovely little collection here that I'd love to talk about and just kind of, you know, give a little bit of commentary on why I wanted these specific games, or, you know, what they mean to me and all that jazz. Figured that might make for a little bit of a interesting-ish video if you're into that kind of stuff. Either way, we have quite the selection of games to go through here, so let's get started. I'm gonna try to go through these in the order that I got them, but that, you know, of course, relies on me remembering the order that I got these games, which I may not remember exactly one-to-one with the actual timeline of events that occurred. But we're gonna see how things go. So I do remember the first game that I ever actually got for the Switch, or that I ever actually like got for myself, essentially. Not the first game I played, but the first game that I ever got on the Switch was Animal Crossing New Horizons. So basically, I didn't have a Switch for a while after it came out, about 3 years. And around the time that this game was coming out, my friend had just recently gotten a new Switch because he had one of the original models and he wanted to get one of the new ones that had better battery life and better whatever. I think it was mainly better battery life. And also, you know, by then, like, the Switch had been out for 3 years. He had his Switch for 3 years. So basically, he got a new Switch, and he let me borrow his old one until I was able to get one for myself. Because at the time, the pandemic had just started. Switches were already kind of not very prevalent in stores. So he let me borrow his, which was really nice of him. And this was the first game that I got. On the same day that he gave me his Switch, I bought this game alongside him. And I was super excited. I love Animal Crossing. And this game was highly anticipated for a long time. And did it meet the hype? Did it live up to the hype? I would argue it did. I would argue that, you know, at least at the time when it came out, this game was everything that we wanted. You know, it was an escape from reality, from the harsh, you know, pandemic-filled world that we were all living in. You know, there was a lot to it. There was crafting. There was all of our favorite characters were back. Of course, you know, we had to wait for a lot of free updates to come out before a lot of other things were added into the game. But we eventually got most of everything that we could ask for. Overall, I think that this is a wonderful game. I think New Leaf is always going to mean a lot to me. I guess a little bit more so than this game, just because I played it when I was little. I have a lot of nostalgia for New Leaf. But I think that New Horizons is still a very great Animal Crossing game and a very great package. Definitely a game that I think most, if not all, Switch owners should own. So, and I stand by that. So, Animal Crossing was the first game that I ever got. I believe the second game that I ever got for the Switch, naturally, was, if I can find it here, where is it? Here it is. Was Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. I feel like this is probably not very much of a surprise because this is a game that many people that have a Switch would naturally buy, because Smash Bros. It's Smash Bros. Like, you're not gonna not get Smash Brothers for your new Switch. That's a thing that you're guaranteed to do, and that was a thing that I did. Mainly so I could play online during, of course, when the pandemic was happening. You know, I wanted some online games to play, and I had Animal Crossing, of course, but this was another game that, you know, a lot of my friends that had Switches also had, so I was like, okay, well, I might as well get Smash Brothers, and I'm definitely not in regret that I got it, because Smash Brothers is a wonderful game. It's a wonderful franchise. Smash Brothers Ultimate is, in my opinion, the best game in the series. Yeah, maybe some people would argue with me, but I feel like a lot of people would probably agree. At least at this point, when it came out, maybe you'd have some things to say about that. I feel like now with the Fighters Pass and all of the features that they've added to the game, and like free updates and whatnot, I think that this is like the definitive Smash Brothers package. I mean, of course, it's literally Smash Brothers Ultimate. But yeah, this was. I think that this is another must-buy for any Switch owner. It's just a really, even if you're not really into fighting games, you can still have fun with this game, and a lot of fun, in my opinion. So it's definitely very great. Definitely don't regret getting that game. I believe the next game that I technically got for my Switch, even though I didn't actually have the physical copy at first, was Pokemon Shield. So I'm a huge Pokemon fan. Some of you may know that. And you know, I always regretted the fact that I missed out on playing Pokemon Shield, you know, when it first came out, because by the time that, you know, when it came out, I didn't have a Switch, but I still was like heavily, you know, invested in the Pokemon franchise at the time. So like, even though I didn't have the game, I still knew about all the new Pokemon. I still basically knew about the entirety of what was in store for me if I was to play this game. Like, I knew the story, I knew the legendaries, I knew basically everything about Sword and Shield. And then I actually finally got to play it in the summer of 2020. And overall, I had fun with it. I actually clocked in a lot of hours in this game, mainly because, you know, I'm really into the competitive side of Pokemon. I'm not going to go too much into that because I know a lot of people don't want to hear about that. But yeah, so you know, and there's a lot to love about these games, especially with the DLC. I did get the DLC for this game. You know, there's a lot to do. Like, there's a lot to really like about these games, as polarizing as they are. Because you know, they were really polarizing when they were coming out, just because of like the no national decks and the whole no national decks thing and all that. But even now, I feel like, you know, a lot of people would argue that these games weren't that great. Maybe in a couple years, people will get nostalgia for them, and we'll start actually be able to look at the positive sides of it. But at least right now, in the current state of the world, that's a weird way to put that, but yeah, you get what I mean. I don't feel like Pokemon Sword and Shield are loved a whole lot, but I enjoyed my time playing this game, so I don't regret playing it. But originally, I didn't get the physical copy at first. I game shared this game with one of my friends, and because I wanted to see if I really would like it, because I was a little worried that I wasn't going to like it when I first decided to play it, but I ended up enjoying it, so I bought it for myself, and I don't regret it. Would I say it's a must buy for the Switch? Probably not. I think if you already have an interest in Pokemon, it's worth a try. If you don't really have any interest in the franchise, I don't feel like it's going to do you any favors, but I enjoyed it for what it was. So that was the third game I ever got for the Switch. I believe the next game that I got on the Switch was this little game right here. You might have heard of it, The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. And here's the thing. I am not a huge Zelda guy. A lot of you watching who might know me in real life probably know that. Well, okay, I like the Legend of Zelda franchise. I haven't played as many of the games as I wish I have. I've played a good amount of Zelda games. I haven't really finished many of them, if any of them. And so, you know, I was interested in getting this game, but really what pushed me to get this game were my friends, because all of my friends that had played Breath of the Wild loved it. They recommended it to me. They were like, you need to get Breath of the Wild. That needs to be one of the first games that you get on the Switch. And so it was. And so I did. This was like literally the fourth game that I ever actually bought for myself on the Switch. I have not played this game in probably 2 years, and I haven't beat it at all, obviously. If I haven't played it in 2 years, I didn't beat it back then. I haven't beaten it since. I definitely want to play it. It's just a matter of finding the time and motivation to actually sit down and play it, because there's so many other games that have preoccupied my time, and I could sit here and make excuses, but overall, just haven't made time to play this game. But it looks really great. I know how beloved it is. I know how many people say it's like the best Zelda game or one of the best Zelda games. So I definitely want to play it. You know, open world games are great. It's on my list. It's on my list. I just don't know exactly when I'm going to get to it, but someday I will. I promise you. Now, here's where things get tricky, because I got a lot of Switch games around the time of Black Friday that year. And I'm trying to remember. Oh, okay, no, I remember what game I got next, because this game literally came out right after I bought Breath of the Wild. This game actually came out, and that was Super Mario 3D All-Stars. So this is another sort of polarizing game in the community of, you know, Switch players and Mario players, because, you know, when this game was announced, you know, there was a lot of hype for it. At least before we knew much about it. It was really cool that we were getting Super Mario 64 and Mario Sunshine and Mario Galaxy in one package. Super Mario 64 wasn't on the Switch yet because they didn't have the Nintendo 64 online package. Super Mario Sunshine had never been re-released like ever. This was the first time it had ever been officially re-released by Nintendo. And the Super Mario Galaxy is just a great game. Like what about this package was so polarizing? Well, as you may or may not know, this was a limited time release. This was out in September of 2020, and it was no longer being manufactured to be put in stores by March of 2021. And so, you know, there was a lot of people that, you know, rushed out to go get this game because they were like, well, I can't miss the, sorry, excuse me. I can't miss my chance to buy this game because it's a limited time release. I gotta buy it now. And then when you actually buy it, you realize how little is actually in this game besides the 3 games here. There's very little, because this was released for, I believe, Mario's 35th anniversary, or at least this was one of the games that was announced for that event, for Mario's 35th anniversary. And there's really not much about this package specifically that celebrates Mario as a franchise, besides the fact that you get the 3 most iconic 3D Mario games. You get the soundtracks for the games. That's all you really get. That's all you really get with this game. And, you know, excuse me, a lot of people didn't really think that that was enough. And, you know, I'm actually one of those people. I think that they could have easily included more in this game to make it well worth the $60 price point, to make it worth buying during the limited time release. I mean, you can, I have no doubt that you can find copies of this game pretty easily, even though it's technically not being manufactured anymore, because it's a Mario game. So many people probably own it. So many people, you know, like, so many people have had access to this game. Like, there's no, it was mass produced, you know, like there's no shortage of this game in existence. Even if you didn't want, you know, like, there's other ways to play these 3 games other than this package. Mario Sunshine's a little bit harder, but obviously there's ways to play these games. Anyway, I've been talking about this game for a while, but essentially this game was very polarizing, but that doesn't change the fact that I think it's a great game for Mario players. Mario Galaxy is a great game. Everyone knows that. Mario 64 is a great game. Everyone knows that. Mario Sunshine's a little bit more on the kind of side of things. I haven't actually got around to playing Mario Sunshine. Definitely want to. It's definitely on my backlog. But I know a lot of people are a little like iffy about that game. But I know a lot of people that like it. So, you know, I definitely want to give it a try. Overall, I enjoyed this game. Don't regret buying it. But I can see why people have some problems with it. Moving on, finally, to the next game that I got, if I can remember. Ooh, I think, okay, so this was, like I was saying, this was around the time of Black Friday, so I got a couple games around this time. And I want to say that the first game of that lineup that I actually got was Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu. I want to say that that was one of the first games that I bought around that time. So here's the thing, like I said earlier, I'm a big Pokemon fan, and this was always a very elusive game to me, because even when it was first announced, I was like, I don't really know if this is for me, because, you know, this game is definitely more geared towards people that aren't really acquainted with Pokemon, or people that have really only played Pokemon Go, which you know what, I think it's actually good that they're kind of trying to find a way to get more people into Pokemon, even though, you know, Pokemon is already such a big popular franchise. There's always potential for more fans, and I think it's great when we're open more fans to the franchise. So, you know, it makes sense that they decided to make this game. That being said, I really am not the biggest fan of this game. It's just, I really do prefer the more traditional Pokemon style of you know, battling and catching in a more, like, definitely like a more traditional way. Because, you know, this game, you know, the catching method, you don't even battle wild Pokemon. You catch them like you would in Pokemon Go. That's the whole shtick with this game. Other than that, it's just a remake of, you know, Red and Blue, the original Pokemon games, or Fire Red and Leaf Green to a lesser extent. And it's not a bad remake. It's not a bad remake. I mean, the original games, you know, there's always going to be fans for those. And I just think that overall, it's just a very basic Pokemon game, and that's saying a lot. It's very much geared towards new fans or smaller children, and as someone who is not a new fan and is not a small child, it was a little hard for me to get into this game. In fact, I don't think I ever actually beat it. But that being said, if you're not into Pokemon, this isn't your worst means of getting into the franchise. So I will give it credit for that, but just wasn't really for me. Now, there are 3 games that I remember getting around this time that were part of this whole Black Friday deal that I was partaking in the tail end of 2020. And I want to say, okay, I know that, okay, wait, no, there was one game that I got before that. Splatoon 2. So, you know, Splatoon, I never actually owned the original Splatoon on the Wii U. And so, you know, this was a game that I was like, you know what, I think I'm going to pick this up because I really wanted to try out Splatoon, see what it was all about, see why so many people liked it. I played it for a good amount of time, and I definitely see the enjoyment. I think overall, I'm not the most into like competitive shooter games, but even still, this is probably the easiest competitive shooter game for me to get into because it just has really great like personality and, you know, that Nintendo charm that you see in a lot of their other games. And the gameplay is really fun. Like, I'm not going to knock it down. I'm not going to pretend like it's not fun. This is a really fun game. Splatoon 2. Splatoon as a franchise is just a really great concept and, you know, a really great execution. I mean, there's 3 Splatoon games and it's only been a franchise for what, like 7 years. So like, you know, for a competitive shooter, that's pretty good because, like, you know, competitive shooters, they don't necessarily always need new entries right away. So the fact that Nintendo was like pouring, you know, time and resources into this game shows how much people like it. That being said, I wasn't the most into it, but it still was really fun. If you're not really into competitive shooter games, it's not the best, it's not the worst, I should say, worst way to get into them if you want to try them out. Now, let's see here. So, okay. I guess the first game I'll talk about, because I do think I remember the order that I got these, was Luigi's Mansion 3. So this was another game that I really wanted because I never played the original Luigi's Mansion. I played Dark Moon, really liked Dark Moon. And when I saw that they were making a third Luigi's Mansion game, I was like, you know what? That's a great idea. Like, and this is probably everything that people wanted in a Luigi's Mansion sequel. I'm not going to, like, I don't feel like that's like a huge claim to make because I know a lot of people loved this game, myself included. I love this game. I think Dark Moon, the thing about Dark Moon was that it was restricted to the handheld form factor, right? So, like, you know, it was great that they were able to make a Luigi Mansion sequel and have it running on the 3DS. It was a great game for what it was. It was great that it was portable. For a portable game, it was a really great game. That being said, I think that there's just too many restrictions and things that you have to account for when you're making a primarily handheld version of a game or sequel to a game in contrast to what you can do on a home console. I mean, obviously the Switch is technically portable, but, you know, to me it'll always be primarily a home console. And so, you know, and overall there was just a lot that they were able to do with this game that they weren't really able to do with Dark Moon. More expansive areas, one really big expansive area more so, you know, a lot more like that you could do in terms of functioning with the mechanics of the game. I don't know if that made any sense. There's a lot more that you can do with like Luigi's Vacuum is what I'm trying to say. And overall, I just think, you know, this is a more definitive Luigi's Mansion sequel. And I don't feel like that's that controversial of an opinion. Definitely a really great game. I can see why so many people like it. I mean, hell, I think it's actually in the top 10 Switch games. If I'm not mistaken, I think it is. And you know what? I think it deserves that spot. I love Luigi's Mansion. Next, so I guess I'll talk, I don't have much to say about this. I got Spyro's Reignited Trilogy, mainly because it was on sale, and I've always wanted to try out like the Spyro games, or more specifically like the retro Sony platformers, like Crash Bandicoot. I don't actually have the Crash Bandicoot Insane Trilogy, but that is a game that I am interested in getting someday. But the Spyro Reignited Trilogy, you know, I knew Spyro because I had Skylanders back in the day, and I really wanted to just see like where his roots were and like what he's got going on, like why people love the character so much. So I got the Reignited Trilogy, and I played a good amount of it. Definitely can see the charm. I think it was a little harder for me to get into this in comparison to like other 3D platformers, but I can definitely see why people have fond memories of playing Spyro. Definitely respect him for his roots, and I am excited to get to getting around to finishing this game at some point in the future. Next, we have, I believe, Fire Emblem Three Houses. So, you may or may not have noticed that this game is not open yet. So, I don't even know where to begin. So, okay, so this was another game that I got around the time of Black Friday. And I think I got them in like a 3-game deal. I think I got this, Spyro's Reignited Trilogy, and Luigi's Mansion all for like a discounted price, which was pretty good. Why did I get this game? A game that I have not even opened. And keep in mind, I got this around September or November of 2020. Why is this still sealed? So here's the thing. At first, it was because I had this sort of rule where I was like, I'm not going to open another one of the games that I have until I finish. Like at the time, I had started Luigi's Mansion 3, so I was like, I'm not going to open this game until I finish Luigi's Mansion 3. So, you know, I played Luigi's Mansion 3 for a good amount of time, then I kind of fell off of it. Never got around to opening this game. Then I finally finished Luigi's Mansion, and instead of going to this game, I played a totally different game that I had, that I had just gotten recently. So, you know, Fire Emblem Three Houses just kind of sat there, unopened, and that's where it sits today. And at this point, it's kind of just a joke to me. Like, I think I kind of just keep it sealed for the fun, for the humor of it. But, you know, basically, I have no experience with the Fire Emblem franchise. But, you know, I was really interested in playing it. And so, you know, like giving it a try. And I just realized I actually went a little out of order in my games because there's a reason why I got this game other than what I've been saying so far. And I'll get to that in a second. But basically, I wanted to give this game a try. Never actually got around to it. I will eventually, because I know how much people love Fire Emblem, and I want to see what all the hubbub is about. You know what I mean? I want to try to see if I can understand the appeal. So one day I will get to this game, but not quite. So something that I failed to mention is that one of the biggest reasons that I got that game was because only a month prior, in October of 2020, I got this game, Mario & Rabbids Kingdom Battle. So, yeah, I remember I got this game as an early Christmas gift. And it was only early because I believe my mom purchased it for me, and because she knew that I liked Mario, and I think I maybe had mentioned to her that I wanted this game. But she got this for me, which was pretty nice of her. I think that she basically somehow revealed to me that she got it for me before Christmas time. So she was like, you can just have it. So that's when I started playing this game. And this actually really surprised me how much I liked this game. One, because it's a tactical RPG. Two, it's a Mario & Rabbids game. Like, I know that we got a sequel to this recently, but it's such a weird concept for a game. And I remember hearing that it was good back when it came out, back when I didn't have a Switch. But, you know, I always was like curious to get it. And then, you know, I finally got a chance to play it, and I was like, wow, I actually really enjoyed this more than I thought I was going to. I think it's just because, you know, it's a tactical RPG in the style of Fire Emblem. But it's very much, it has a lot of that Mario charm to it and simplicity. And I really like that because it's, for me, someone who is not an avid tactical RPG player, you know, it's harder for me to get into those types of games. So having a game kind of walk you through it in a lot more of an easy and manageable way was really nice for me. And I have yet to beat this game because it actually gets pretty challenging later on, in my opinion. But what I have played of it, and I have played a good amount of it. In fact, I think I played through the entirety of the DLC, and I haven't even beat the main story because the DLC is really fun too. Yeah, I really enjoyed this game, and this got me interested in playing other tactical RPGs, which is why I ended up getting Fire Emblem. So that's a good one. Definitely like that game. I think I know what the next game I got was. I believe. Oh wait, no, I missed a game. Ring Fit Adventure. So this is kind of a weird game, or I guess this kind of stands out in my collection here. But basically, around the time of Black Friday, my mom had like this deal at Best Buy where if she spent a certain amount of credit, she would get like something for like a good amount off. And my mom really likes deals. So she basically was like, hey, I will get you something from Best Buy that you want because I want to use this credit or get this credit that I am told that I would get. So I was like, okay, maybe just like Ring Fit Adventure because I heard that this game was good. One of my friends, I think, had it, and he told me that it was pretty fun. It's basically like it's an exercise game. You get like this big ring that you like this thing right here. You get like a real life like component to mirror this, and it's basically like an RPG / adventure game. Where you do exercises to defeat the monsters, and I think that that's fun, and I always thought that that was a fun idea. It's definitely a very Nintendo idea, so you know, in the very much of the style of like Wii Fit and you know the games that Nintendo pushes that are a little bit more like casual or you know more friendly towards like you know people that aren't necessarily like hardcore gamers, and I like that. So I was interested in this, and I have played it, haven't beaten it all, but I've played a good amount of it, and I can definitely say it's a pretty good game. I like it for what it is. It's very fun. You know, it actually makes exercising a little bit more fun if you're not really used to it. And I'm not. At least when I was playing this a good amount, I was not really used to exercising. So this was a fun time. I don't regret getting this and playing it. Now we move on to probably one of my favorite games in my collection overall. Might not be much of a surprise. Super Mario Odyssey. What is there to say about this game that hasn't already been said? This is like it's the definitive 3D Mario game. I don't feel like that's that much of a stretch. Everything that you like about 3D Mario is in this game. I can guarantee you about that. The platforming is great. The power-ups are great. I mean, the power-ups are more so like what you can transform into with the cap transformations or whatever. You know, the level design is great. There's expansive worlds. It looks great. It plays beautifully. The controls are just, they're immaculate, for lack of a better way of putting it. It's a great game. This is like, and I remember playing this around the time that it came out on my friend's Switch, and I don't know why, but I thought to myself, this is overwhelming. I remember thinking that when I played this, and maybe that's just because I didn't have a Switch at the time, and I wasn't used to playing Switch games, and I hadn't played like a 3D Mario game in a while, but I remember thinking that this is overwhelming. I don't think I would like this game. And now I'm just sitting here thinking like, why did I ever think that? I love this game. I love this game so much. It was so fun. I haven't actually gotten all the moons in it, but it's a great Mario game. I recommend it to anybody who has a Switch, anybody who, I mean, I feel like most people that have a Switch have played this game. If you don't own it, you've played it at least. Like it's Super Mario Odyssey. It's not, it's like, it's so good. It's so freaking good. Everything, like this is like Mario fans' Breath of the Wild, in my opinion. And I feel like that's not much of a stretch to say because they came out in the same year. Yeah, it's just really good. I feel like most people know that about that game. All right, now let's see here. This is where things get a little bit more tricky. What game did I get next? I don't think I actually got a lot of Switch games for a while until I believe, let's see here, because I got a lot of these games more so late last year. I feel like the next game I got was probably new Pokemon Snap. I want to say that that's what the next game I got was. This was like late 2021. I remember when this game was announced, I was really excited for it because I never had gotten a chance to play the original Pokemon Snap, and I love Pokemon, and I just figured this would be a really fun time. I've played through most of this. I don't think I beat it. A lot of these games I've played through a good amount, but I haven't actually beat them. But I've played through of this game, it's great. I love this game. You know, going around in these lush environments, watching Pokemon interact, taking pictures of them. It's a great time. If you're a Pokemon fan, I feel like you're gonna get enjoyment out of this. If you're not a Pokemon fan, even if you're not a Pokemon fan, I feel like you'll get enjoyment out of this just because it's really fun watching all these creatures run around in their natural habitat and watching how they interact. And you know, like there's so many different like biomes and paths you can take and Pokemon to see. It's just really fun. It's a really enjoyable time. And I can definitely see why so many people loved the original Pokemon Snap. If it was anything like this, which obviously it was, but this is definitely like the definitive Pokemon Snap. I mean, there's only two, but like this one is just like you gotta play this one. You gotta play this one. I'm sure the original is great. I'm not discounting the original, but that game, oof, so good. All right, I think the next game that I got was this little game right here, Super Mario 3D World plus Bowser's Fury. So I was one of the, you know, maybe like one of the like 10 people that bought a Wii U or that had a Wii U. And so I had Super Mario 3D World. That was one of the first games I got on my Wii U. And I loved it back then. I remember people kind of being like, oh, I wish this was a better, like, do a big 3D Mario game like Super Mario 64 and all that. And so it kind of got a little bit of like hate around that time, or maybe not hate is the right way to put it, but like it was a little bit more controversial back then just because we hadn't had like a big 3D Mario game in a while and people were getting a little antsy. Now we obviously have Super Mario Odyssey, but at the time we didn't have that. So, you know, when this game came out, a lot of people were like, oh, I don't know about that. When the original came out, not this one specifically, but I really loved the original Super Mario 3D World. And so when I saw that they were giving this a remake, or, you know, like re-releasing it on the Switch, I was like, oh, that's great. Like, that's gonna, like, you know, we already have Super Mario Odyssey, so people can't really say much about that anymore. We have a 2D Mario game on the system, and now we have like sort of the 2D, 3D hybrid game on the console. And I thought that was just a natural, like, this game is a natural fit on the Switch, in my opinion. And you get Bowser's Fury with it if you get this specific game. And at the time, I remember when they announced the original, like the remake, it just looked like, oh cool, we're getting Super Mario 3D World on the Switch, that's great. And then they announced that they had this Bowser's Fury thing, and I was like, whoa, what the heck is that? What does that mean? And now that I own this game and I've played it, I know what it means, and I think it's great. I think Bowser's Fury just makes it makes this like a must buy, in my opinion. I think that if you're a Mario fan, and even if you're just like a general Switch fan or a Switch player, I think that there's a lot to get out of this game. You get like the normal Mario, like Super Mario 3D World is a great game. I don't need to elaborate on that. It's a great platforming game. It's super fun. There's multiplayer. It's a great game. Bowser's Fury makes it like it's perfect. It's like if you're not as much of a fan of this style of Mario, you got this style of Mario, and this can get into Mario Odyssey potentially. And it's like, why would you not get this game? It's a great game. I love this game. I think that this is a wonderful Switch game. Next, what do we got next? I believe the next game that I got was Pokemon Shining Pearl. Yes, I do believe this was the next game that I got. So what is there to say about Pokemon Shining Pearl? Well, it's definitely a Pokemon game. It's definitely a remake of the original Pokemon Pearl version, and it's also kind of a stupid bad game. So here's the thing about this game. It's very much obvious how rushed this game was. I didn't word that exactly perfectly. Any previous English teacher I've had that's watching this video potentially, I'm sorry. But overall, it's so obvious like how rushed this game was, and just, I don't know, like there's so much about this game that I wish was better. Because I love the original Diamond and Pearl. I was so excited that they were getting remakes. I was willing to get past the fact that they were going to be like chibi, like very one-to-one style remakes. You know, even though I kind of wanted the more like advanced, you know, like modern style of Pokemon, you know, with the remakes of Gen 4. I wanted that. I was willing to put up with the fact that they weren't doing that. What I'm not willing to put up with is how actually bad quality this is for a Switch game. For a $60 release, no less. It's just, I just wish it was better. There were so many bugs. There were so many like little annoying things that they could have fixed about the game easily. There's so much about this game that I wish was better, and I feel bad to say that, but that's just the truth. Overall, though, you know, I don't regret playing it and trying it out. There is a lot to like about this game, but it's just not my favorite. It's not my favorite Switch game, or it's not my favorite Pokemon game on the Switch by a long shot. In fact, I probably like New Pokemon Snap more than it. I don't know how polarizing that opinion is, but that's just what I think. Anyway, moving on. I think the next game that I got, yes, I believe it was this one, the good Pokemon Switch game from around the time of winter 2021. So obviously this game came out at the beginning of 2022. I was super excited for it. It looked unlike any other Pokemon game that we had at this point, and I was so excited to try it out, and I don't regret trying it out at all. I think that this is a amazing Switch game. It's an amazing Pokemon game. Even if you've played like other open world like I don't even know what to say. I don't want to I haven't played a lot of games, so I don't want to make any big claims here. Overall, I think that this is a great Pokemon game. There's a lot, like they improved the Pokemon formula so much in this game and evolved it, and just little things about it. Like the battles are faster, the catching Pokemon mechanic is faster. You know, the move animations, the actual animations of the Pokemon, the world, you know, maybe the graphics leave a little bit to be desired, but overall, like, this is a great package, you know what I mean? And it's just, I think I'm running out of things to say because, like, this game, it just, like, it captures my heart, like, it makes me speechless. Okay, I don't know if I want to go that far, but it's a great game. I really like Pokemon Legends Arceus. I feel like, I don't know if I'd recommend it to people that aren't into Pokemon, because I definitely think it appeals more to people that are into Pokemon and generally enjoy the concept of Pokemon. But overall, I like this game. That's my final verdict. Next, the next game that I got, believe it or not, was Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. So, you know, you may be asking yourself right now, how did I not already own this game? Well, here's the thing. I already had Mario Kart 8 on the Wii U. I wasn't in the most rush to get another Mario Kart or have the ability to play Mario Kart on my Switch, because I didn't really feel like I was going to be playing it very much, because I already had other multiplayer games that I was playing with my friends a good amount. And overall, I was just like, you know, I already have Mario Kart 8 with all the DLC, and what is there about this specific package that makes it like a must buy for me? And now that I actually have it, I definitely see why. I mean, I think I got this a little after they announced the Booster Course Pass. And I think that was probably like the last push I needed to buy to actually get this game. Because overall, this is a really great game. Like, in terms of Mario Kart games, it's a no-brainer. It's like the definitive Mario Kart game. And even in terms of a Switch game, it's great. Like, I think that there's so much to this game. Like, it perfects Mario Kart, and I feel like it's a Switch game that literally anyone can enjoy. Like, and I mean, like, it's the best-selling Switch game. Like, I feel like that's almost like there's no point in making that claim because so many people own this game and love this game. But even if you have played all the Mario Karts and you have Mario Kart 8, the original Mario Kart 8 with all the DLC, I still think this is worth getting just because of just how perfect of a package it is. And now that you got the Booster Course Pass, I feel like there's even more to enjoy about this. If you feel like the Booster Course Pass is worth it for you, I think it was definitely worth it for me. I mean, obviously they're still coming, at the time of recording this, they're still releasing the tracks, but I don't regret buying it at all. So overall, really enjoy this game. Next, okay, we have a few more games to go through here. I believe the next game that I got was, I think it was this one? I think it was Rayman Legends Definitive Edition. So I don't really know what to say. So, okay, I like Rayman Legends. I had it on the Wii U. So you may be asking, why did I get it again? Well, I remember playing it on the Wii U with my aunt. That was like something that we did together just to like find a means to hang out. And I always thought that was fun. And so I got this because I just thought it'd be cool to like relive those memories with her and just kind of like play through the game again. And we haven't played through all of it yet, but we did play through a good amount of it, and it brought back so many great memories. Don't regret buying this. And overall, like, I don't know if Rayman is for everyone, but I definitely enjoy it for what it is. And that's all that I really have to say about it. Next, I think the next game that I got was this one, Puyo Puyo Tetris. So I like Tetris. I enjoy Tetris a good amount. Always had a fascination with this specific version of Tetris because I know a lot of people like it. But you know, I'm not like the biggest puzzle game guy, so I was a little skeptical about getting it, but I heard good things about it. And I heard that people liked it. I never knew what Puyo Puyo was. I still don't quite know. No, no, but I've played this game a good amount with my friends, and I remember getting it and I was like, oh, this looks interesting. And I tried playing it and I was like, oh, this is actually pretty fun. And then I showed it to my friends and we all like started playing it together. I think I actually convinced my friends to get this game, or most of them at least, and we all would play it together, and we had like a really great time with it. So yeah, it's definitely a fun time. If you like puzzle games, I feel like it's a no-brainer. If you're not the biggest fan of puzzle games, maybe don't get it. I don't know. I mean, it's a fun time. I quite enjoy this as a package. And it was only like 20 bucks, I think. So I was like, sure, why not? The next game that I remember getting, I believe, was Paper Mario the Origami King. So many people might be asking, like, why did you decide to get this? Because, you know, a lot of people, this is another polarizing one. You know, I really like the original Paper Mario games. Never really got why they had such a drastic change in the style of these games, because I just feel like the original style worked so well. I mean, obviously, you know, they've came out with like interviews with the developers, and they've been talking like, oh, we just want to make more creative things or whatever. I don't know exactly what they were saying. Overall, I don't quite know why Paper Mario took such a polarizing shift in turn in terms of like quality and you know, overall. Well, I don't know if I want to say quality, because this is a good game. Sorry, I keep on starting sentences but not finishing them. Overall, I think I like this game. Did I finish it? No. Was it because I didn't like it? No. I just got caught up with other things. But overall, I quite enjoy this game. I think that there's actually a lot to like about this game, in spite of the fact that it's not a traditional RPG like a lot of people wanted. I think that there's a lot to love about this game. And I do think that in terms of overall, like the Paper Mario franchise, I think it was a step in the right direction. I think it gave us more of what we wanted out of Paper Mario games. Overall, the reason why I even started playing this is because my friend Game shared it with me, because I was curious to try it out. I tried it, and I actually got a good amount of enjoyment out of it, and that's why I bought it for myself. And overall, I think it's worth trying. If you are a little bit on the fence about like the new style of Paper Mario, you didn't really like Sticker Star, you didn't really like Color Splash, I don't think Origami King is horrible. I think that there are things in it that make it, that, you know, leave it a little bit lesser than the original Paper Mario games, in my opinion, as much as I wish I didn't have to say that. But overall, I don't think this is a bad game. I think this is worth trying. So I quite enjoyed it. The next game that I got was Super Mario Maker 2. So why did I get Super Mario Maker 2? Well, if you couldn't already tell, I like Mario games. I like platformers. And I was always curious to get this game because, you know, it's infinite Mario levels. Like, at the end of the day, like, that alone as a selling point is such a big, like, it's such a big pull, or at least for me, it was such a big pull, the idea that I could just play infinite Mario levels. And there's an entire Mario game in this package, because there's a whole campaign of original levels made by Nintendo with the level editor, of course, so it's a little bit more restricted, but even still, I think that this was well worth it. Overall, I really enjoy Super Mario Maker 2, and I think that I feel like I've said this for every Mario game that I've talked about, but if you're a Mario fan, you're going to like this game. Is there even a point in saying that? I don't feel. I'm getting tired. I've been talking about a lot of games in this. I only got a couple more though, so we're in the final stretch. Next game, we got WarioWare Get It Together. So, WarioWare Get It Together is a game that I never really thought I would ever own. But what happened is my friend bought this game, and he only really played a little bit of it. And then he kind of decided he was done with it. And I remember always thinking to myself, you know what? I would totally get this game if it wasn't $50. Because I just feel like, for me at least, I never have really played the closest thing to a Wario game WarioWare game that I've played is Game & Wario. And I don't feel like that specifically counts in the grand scheme of things, but I was like, you know, I did enjoy what I played of Game & Wario, and I was curious to give this game a try. So one day, he was like, hey, I will sell you my copy for a discounted price if you want it. And I was like, hell yeah, I'll take it. So I bought the game off of him, and now I have it for myself. And I still haven't tried it yet, but I have it. And maybe it's just the collector's mindset in me, but just like knowing the fact that I have it just brings me joy. Call it the hoarder's mindset. I don't know. I don't know what you want to call it, but I will get around to playing this at some point. Believe you me. We only got 2 more games left, and I think I'm going to go a little out of order with this one just because I want to talk about one of these games specifically more than the other. But we're going to talk about Mario Party Superstars. This is actually the most recent Switch game I got, mainly because it was on sale for Black Friday. At the time of recording this, it's near Black Friday. So I got this game for a discounted price. I always, Mario Party is such a fun franchise. I've played a couple of the games. I haven't played as many as I wish I have, but the games that I have played, I've enjoyed. Even some of the more polarizing Mario Party games, I've played them, enjoyed them. I never really got super interested in getting Super Mario Party, even though I know that one's the more popular one, mainly because it's been out for longer. But this one, I was like, I was so fascinated by this game because it's basically what we've been asking for Mario Party to be again since forever now. And so when they announced this game, I was like, I need to get this game at some point, but I didn't want to pay full price for it because at its core, this game is old material. It's old mini games, it's old boards, it's not even that many boards. There's not much new about this game, but does that make this a bad game? No, I don't think it's worth the $60 price point, I'm gonna be honest, but that's why I ended up getting it for a discounted price. And do I regret getting it at all? No, I think it's a great party game. It's a great Mario Party game specifically. They perfected the formula. They actually retooled the original formula. Like at its core, this is the original Mario Party formula. There's original boards, original mechanics, all that jazz. They perfected the original mechanics. Now that I've played this game, I can confidently say that. They took the original formula of Mario Party and just made it better, which is crazy because this was developed by the same people that made all the bad Mario Party games. So I just think that that's kind of crazy. Like they definitely got their shit together with this game, and I'm so happy to say that. If you like Mario Party, you're gonna love this game. So I don't know how many more times I can say versions of that sentence. Finally, we arrive at another more recent game, or the second most recent game I've gotten for the Switch, Pokemon Scarlet. I actually just beat this game at the time of recording this video. And what do I have to say about this? I think, you know what? I'm just going to come out and say it. I think this is a good Pokemon game. A lot of people, I know, have been pointing out how glitchy this game is, how poorly it, runs on the Switch. And I know all that. I've experienced it. Does that detract from my enjoyment of the game? Not really, if I'm being honest. I still, maybe it's just the really deep-rooted Pokemon fan in me, but I love this game. I think that they're so, they have pushed the Pokemon series in a very good direction with this game, and I am so excited to see how it further evolves. But overall, I think that this is a great game. The Pokemon roster is great. The open world is so, for a Pokemon game at least, it's huge. It's very expansive. There's constantly new things around every corner. There's so much to do in the game. You can go at it at your own pace, in your own order. I think that was so overdue for Pokemon. The legendaries are cool. The post game is cool. There's so much about this game that I love. And overall, I think this is a really good Pokemon game. I think even if you're not a Pokemon fan, I want to say I recommend this because I love this game so much. Now that I beat it, maybe it's just because it's the most recent game that I've beat out of this collection, but that's just how I feel. That's how I'm feeling right now. I think that this almost could be a better means to getting into Pokemon than Let's Go Pikachu. Almost. Yeah, you know what? I'm going to come out and say that. I'm going to go out and say that. And if you think I'm wrong, sue me. Don't actually sue me because I don't think I could financially recover from that. But overall, that's my Switch game collection. Hope you enjoyed this video. Buy Pokemon Scarlet or Violet if you haven't. And now that I have talked about Nintendo Switch games for well over 40 minutes, I can confidently say I have lost all credibility.